I want to do that by taking you to the passage that tells us a story where they fail spectacularly in prayer, but I think was a turning point for them learning to pray. And I've been praying that God would use this session to help each of us as brothers, as men, to move forward in the area of prayer. The passage I'm referencing is found in Luke's Gospel, chapter 22. So if you have your hard copy of the Bible, or if you've got it on your phone, you want to join me in Luke 22, I want to talk to you about the disruptive power of prayer. Now, if we go back to that passage that I just surveyed for you, and we look a little closer, I think we find out why these disciples failed so spectacularly when it came to praying. Why didn't they pray? Jesus asked them to pray, but why didn't they do it? Let me highlight for you from Luke 22 at least 3 reasons why they didn't pray. And I'm guessing you will see in these 3 reasons some of the same reasons you don't pray. I don't pray. Let me give them to you rather quickly. Why didn't they pray when Jesus asked them? Number 1. Why don't we pray when Jesus asks us to pray? Number 1, we get overconfident. We get overconfident. Peter sure did, right? Remember when Jesus says to him, Peter, Satan is after you. Peter says, listen, Jesus, no worries. I got this thing. I've got your back. I'm ready to go with you to prison or to death. Peter is talking big. He's confident he'll do okay. Brothers, that's like some of us. Essentially, we go through life saying to God, not in so many words, but by our prayerlessness, we're saying to God, God, don't worry, I got this. Whatever comes my way, prison, death, I can handle that. We get overconfident. Here's the second thing that happened to them, happens to us. We get overtired. We get overtired. They come to the garden, verse 45 says, Jesus tells them to pray. They sit down to pray. They probably started to pray, don't you think? Like Jesus just said to them, guys, pray. So they're probably, after he goes off, they're probably saying to each other, well, like he asked us, right? So I'm guessing they start to pray. But it's been a long day. And their eyes are a bit heavy. And the next thing, I bet you've had this happen, they're praying and it turns into sleeping. So we get overconfident, we get overtired. Here's a third reason. We get overwhelmed. I think that's what happened to the disciples. In verse 45, there's a curious little phrase that Luke adds. Listen to this. When Jesus comes back and finds them, it says this, he came to the disciples and found them sleeping for sorrow. Sleeping for sorrow. That's interesting, isn't it? It's kind of saying the reason they're sleeping is because of sorrow. In other words, they had just gone through an intense season. Things had been hard. Things had been upsetting. They get there and their hearts are filled with sorrow, and in a sense, they shut down. They're overwhelmed. Now, I'm getting that each of us knows, well, at least 1 or 2 or 3 of those things is like, we get overconfident at times, right? Sometimes we get overtired, and sometimes, frankly, we're just overwhelmed.